Khalil Gibran, Satan. The people looked upon Father Zaman as their guide in the field of spiritual matters, for he was an authority on mortal things, and well versed in the secrets of heaven, hell, and purgatory. Father Zaman's mission was to travel from one village to another, preaching and curing the people from the spiritual disease of sin, and saving them from the horrible traps of Satan. The Reverend Father waged constant war with Satan, and the people were always anxious to buy his prayers with gold or silver. And at every harvest they gave him the best fruits of their fields. One evening in autumn, Father Zaman walked his way towards a solitary village, while he was mentally preparing his sermon about love your neighbor. Suddenly, he heard a painful cry emerging from a ditch at the side of the road. He stopped and looked in the direction of the noise, and saw a man laying on the ground. His clothes were ripped, and he was covered in blood. Streams of blood oozed from deep wounds in his head and chest. He was mourning painfully. "Help me! Have mercy on me! I am dying!" Father Zaman looked at the sufferer and said to himself, "This man must be a thief. He probably tried to rob the wayfarers and failed. Someone has wounded him, and I fear that should he die, I may be accused of having taken his life. I'd better keep going so I don't get involved." And he started walking again. But the dying man stopped him, calling out, "Do not leave! I am dying!" Father's face became pale as he spoke to himself. "I'm refusing to help. The sight of his wounds brings fear into my heart. What shall I do? I am only a priest and not a doctor. I cannot treat his wounds." So Father Zaman walked away again. But the wounded man opened his eyes and shouted, "Father, I know that you are going to the church to deliver a sermon on love. Listen, if I survive, I will tell people that you, instead of helping me, ran away. Then the people of the village will say that your sermons are all farce." This frightened the priest a bit. He was not worried about the dying man, but about public opinion. The wounded man uttered a painful cry. "Come close! Close to me! Come! For we have been friends for a long time. You are Father Zaman, the Good Shepherd, and I am not a thief. Do not let me die in this deserted place. Come, and I will tell you who I am." Father Zaman came close to the man unwillingly and stared at him. He saw a strange face. He saw intelligence with slyness, ugliness with beauty, and weakness with softness. He withdrew sharply and exclaimed, Who are you?
With a fainting voice, the dying man said, "Fear not, father, for we have been friends for long. Take me to the nearby streamlet and cleanse my wounds."
The father said, "I do not remember having seen you. Tell me who you are."
The man replied with a weak voice, "You know me. You speak about me every day. I am dearer to you than your own life."
But the father shouted, "You are lying! The dying man should tell the truth. I have never seen your evil face in my entire life. Tell me who you are, or I will let you die."
A wounded man looked into the clergyman's eyes, and upon his bloody lips appeared a strange smile. And in a quiet and deep voice he said, "I am Satan."
Hearing the fearful word, Father Saman uttered a terrible cry. Then he stared and realized that the dying man looked like the Satan in the picture hanging on the wall of the village church. He trembled and cried out, "God has justly caused me to hate you. Cursed be you forever."
Satan answered, "Father, lose not this fleeing time in empty talk. Come and close my wounds quickly, before life departs from my body."
But the clergyman shouted, "These hands, which offer the daily sacrifice to God, shall not touch a body made of the secretion of hell. You must die, for you are Satan, the enemy of humanity."
Satan, rising himself upon an elbow, said, "You don't know what you are saying. Listen, for I will tell you my story. Today I was walking alone in this solitary valley, but suddenly a band of angels descended from heaven and attacked me. I would have been able to drive them off if it had not been for one of them who had a blazing sword. I had no power against the brilliant sword." Satan pressed a shaking hand upon the deep wound in his side. Then he continued, "The armed angel, I believe he was Michael, was an expert fighter. Had I not thrown myself to the ground and pretended to be dead, he would have killed me." Turning his eyes heavenwards, the father shouted with a triumphant voice, "Blessed be Michael's name, which has saved humanity from this vicious enemy." But Satan protested, "You are blessing Michael, who never has done anything for you, but you are cursing me. Even so I was, and still am, the source of your happiness. You live and prosper in the shadow of my being. My existence is an excuse and weapon for your career. Because of me, you have been able to amass your wealth. Using my hell as a threat, you have extracted gold and silver from your poor followers. What would you do tomorrow if I die today? You will starve to death. What profession would you have if Satan disappeared? Your occupation would die with me, for the people save sin. For decades you have been roaming these villages and warning the people against falling into my traps. What would they buy from you tomorrow if they discovered that their wicked enemy no longer exists? As a clergyman, do you realize that Satan's existence alone has created his enemy, the church? That ancient conflict is a secret that draws gold and silver from the faithful's pockets and puts it into the pockets of the priests. How can you let me die here when you know it will cause you to lose your prestige, your church, and your livelihood? Satan became silent for a moment. Then he continued, Father, you are proud, but ignorant of the truth which joins both of us together. Had it not been for me, no temples would have built. I am the hand that moves man's hands. I am Satan, whom the people fight in order to keep themselves alive. If they cease struggling against me, slothfulness will deaden their minds and hearts. I am the tempest who agitates the minds of men and the hearts of women, and in fear of me they travel to places of worship to condemn me, or to places of vice to surrender to my will. The monk who prays in the silence of the night to keep me away from his bed is like the prostitute who invites me to her chamber. I am the cause of all evil. I am Satan, everlasting. Monasteries are built upon the foundation of fear of hell. Wine shops and whorehouses are built upon the foundations of lust. If I cease to exist, fear and enjoyment will be abolished from the world. Life will become empty and cold. If there is no more sin, the fighters of sin, the priests, will be useless. The day I die, you will be out of business. You cannot exist without me. You had better save me, because if I die, all the priests will be out of work. There will not be any need for them anymore. Do you want me to die in this deserted wilderness? Do you want to cut the bond between you and me? Answer me, clergyman! And Satan stretched his head forward. Then he fixed his glittering eyes upon Father Simon and said, I am tired and weak. I did wrong by using my waning strength to speak about things you already know. Now you may do as you please. You may carry me to your home and treat my wounds, or leave me in this ditch to die. Father Simon rubbed his hands nervously and apologized. I know now what I had not known before. Forgive my ignorance. I know that you create all temptations. And temptations is a measurement by which God judges the value of human souls. If you die, temptation will die, and with it the power which elevates men. So you must live. For if you die, and the people know it, their fear of hell will vanish, for then nothing would be sin. You must live, for in your life is the salvation of humanity. I shall sacrifice my hatred for you on the altar of my love for men. Satan uttered a laugh that rocked the ground and said, "What an intelligent man you are, Father. You have found a purpose for my existence. Now we realize our need for each other. Come close, my brother. Darkness is falling on the hills, and half of my blood has escaped upon the sand. Death will soon overcome me, unless you help me." Father Simon rolled the sleeves of his robe, lifted Satan on his back, and walked toward his home. With his back bent under the heavy burden, he walked through the silence of the dark valley. His black robe and long beard were spattered with blood dropping from above. But he struggled forward, his lips moving in fervent prayer for the life of the dying Satan. "Do not die, for God's sake. If you die, I will be out of work."
Religion depends on Satan. The church and the priests must pray that Satan continues. For if Satan disappears, they too will disappear. Or they come up with something else to cause guilt and fear in the people to extract their money. Because the great palaces of religion, the churches, depend on Satan for their existence and wealth.